settings tonight. I will adjust as necessary. If we need to adjust things, we will. Again, that teething period, let's get right into it. First off, well, what can we expect going into Canada tonight? We can expect chaos, we can expect safety cars, and we can most certainly expect pretty decent racing around here. Battery isn't really a factor, so it makes it really, really fun. Down that back straight, we'll see a bunch of overtakes, maybe some recharging, maybe some super clipping, maybe some harvesting. There will be battles across the field. I do believe that we have a full grid, which will be absolutely incredible. Thank you very much. And yeah, so anyway, we're going to jump into qualifying shortly here, but let's have a look at what happened last time when we were out in Silverstone. It was a great race, had a little bit of a boring period in the middle, as you expect with Silverstone, but it was a good race and a bit of a surprise at the end with the Ferraris. And it's pedal to the metal. Here we go, down towards turn one. Who's going to come out on top? The Ferrari drivers are off to a great start here. Almaco sleeps in behind to start us off down the front straight. There's a bit of chaos in the background. Here we go, jump on board. The two Ferraris getting a little bit spicy in the background here. Look out. Oh, there's a spinner in the back. Who's that? That's, I think that was Dan the Racer, just getting a little bit tagged there in the background. So a bit of chaos in the back as we expected off the start here. Look at this. The battery, I'm telling you, the battery management is going to be absolutely crucial for this Grand Prix. Dan the Racer running very, very wide there. 26 laps. Oh, that's a spin in the background. Just Blue Cat all the way around in Maggots and Beckett's got to be really careful on the rejoin. That's Phoenix going straight into him. What is going on there? Lining up the move, bit of a lock up there from 2K. And around goes Legend. So that's unfortunate for him. He was really in the field there, and I think Aussie as well had a bit of a moment in the background. I think, oh, in the back, whoa, hold on, D Legend into the wall. What's happened there? That's unfortunate. He was having such a good race, and I think it's just come away from him. 2K into the pits. The hard tire gets put on. He gets held for a while. Everybody's coming into the pit. So I think the pit window is very much open. Either that or a bunch of people have had incidences. Riley comes into the pit, so I think that's to get rid of his penalty. And the team does not care. They do not care. Mercedes immediately send him out. What penalty? They say. What penalty? Who cares? I think. Because look at the amount of battery that he has compared to the likes of what he's had before. So I think this is the move on. Here we go. Striker deploys, and so does Sam. So here we go towards Cops. What is going to happen? Sorry, not Cops, Stowe. Out braking, trying to go around the outside. Is Striker. Can he do it? Down the hill we go. Who knows? Yes, he's ahead. Fantastic. Sam goes in the pits. He's done wasting his time on those medium tires. Good defense from Sam. Well played. Good stint. And a 10-second time penalty to boot. That is extremely annoying. Into turn one. The defensive, and all of a sudden, look out. There's a rogue Williams of Striker 9 getting in the way. This is going to get very interesting as almost around goes Sam. Mitch up the inside looking for the move. This Williams has completely blocked these two. This is going to get very feisty. I can almost guarantee it. They're going to want to dispose of this Williams ASAP, but the Williams is going to have a ton of battery to work with. So Sam right on the back of Mitch. Mitch is going to have the warmer tires. He's going to have the advantage at the moment over the Williams. And the up and under, is it going to work? Straight mode active. The Williams bolts. D Legend up the inside of Cops. That's a risky move side by side. That's incredible. Look at this. And to Maggots and Beckett's. D Legend on Dirty Orange. That was a fantastic move. Brilliant to see. It's going to be very dependent on what D Legend has to defend. And the answer, as they go side by side, down in towards the final chicane. Dirty Orange up the inside. D Legend then has the defensive. They touch. Fair battling at the moment. D Legend, Dirty Orange. What a battle this is. Oh, D Legend getting really sideways there. Trying to get on the power as quick as possible. Oh, they're touching, in fact. They're getting very, very close. Can we see pens, please? Of course you can. Significant. Very significant. Is Oscar maybe going to think about a move into Cops? No, he isn't. They're just bum drafting each other all the way through into Maggots and Beckett's we go. They're going defensive. The two Ferraris are finally battling here, getting very, very feisty with each other on this final lap. Lap 26. Up the inside goes Alarms, and he's spun around. GP, that was cheeky. That was very cheeky indeed. The two Ferraris coming together. I can guarantee they're laughing at each other in the call, but who cares? That is late drama at the end of this Grand Prix. Mitch is going to be ever closer as well. Gregory Prisball, the man you are, coming across the field in the Ferrari to finish the Grand Prix first. A good battle between the Ferraris, comes across the line first. Alarms is going to come home in second place after the contact with GP. So looking at the standings, the end of that, it is, well, I mean, GP currently leads the Drivers' Championship with Almaco in second after a really good showing in Silverstone. But anyway, we should probably get into qualifying, shouldn't we? This is going to be interesting around Canada, and it does look like we have a pretty clear sky as it currently looks. We'll look at best at the moment, and yeah. Should be right from there, I reckon. There we go. Lap data, we'll get that up as well. We'll get a track map up for you guys. Anyway, talking of Canada, let's get straight into it. This circuit will be one for the books of challenges. This is a circuit that rewards commitment. It's just constantly on the edge of limit, grip, everything you're thinking about. It comes at you pretty damn quick here in Canada. And GP immediately setting the early pace with a 108.907, the time now for them to all chase. He is no longer starting from the back. I suggested maybe starting from the back, but he's gone against it. Al Mako immediately up into second after setting his lap. Let's have a look at Aussie 2K go as into the chicane at the end of the lap, looking to not hit the wall of champions. Straight mode open as you head across the line. What's it going to be? A 111.187. So the field pretty evenly spread at the moment. I think GP, yet again, is going to be the one to beat here. We expected this coming into this week, and we expect nothing less, realistically. Having 20 drivers out there on the field is going to be very, very fun for me to commentate, but also going to be very difficult for me to keep up by myself. As a solid heads up to you guys, I'm probably going to lose my voice halfway through. Jumping on board here with Striker 9 down towards the final sector. At the moment, a decent lap from him. He's using all his battery and some. Into the final chicane, the Wall of Champions to greet him on the outside if he's not careful. Straight mode active. And across the line. It's a decent time. Let's get fastest lap. Oh, this is probably better to watch. Sam's on his lap. And, you know, actually, we'll stay on board here with Sam as we head through that first sector, the downhill chicane, left, right, and then left. And then rising up the hill, this off-camber left-hander flows really nicely into this right-hander. It's actually a really difficult corner to get right as well on the power. You've got to be really careful that the rears don't spin out there. Cam as well, setting a pretty decent time there, a 111.114. That puts him up to third as we head to the hairpin. 100-meter braking down to second gear, sometimes first for some of these drivers. Back on the power, straight mode active with the boost, and Sam's going to be getting a nice little tow here from the Alpine. Down the back straight we go, towards the chicane and Wall of Champions. Be careful not to cut the inside curb too much, you'll lose your lap. As to the line we go, what's it going to be? A 111.336, and that's good enough for sixth at the moment, not third, apologies there. Phoenix, his teammate, on a lap as well. A little bit more hesitant of a turn in there from Phoenix. As the car darting left, right, and center. To the hairpin. Nigel, one of our, I think that's one of our reserve drivers, up to fifth there. So that's a really good showing from him at the moment. It's Phoenix down the back straight. I think one of the controller players in this league, so that's good to see. Relatively competitive as well through the chicane, avoiding the Wall of Champions. Straight mode active. What's it going to be to the line? Looks like a maybe 114, maybe 115, 114.87 is the time for Phoenix at the moment. Not too bad at all. Daniel on his lap. The McLaren heading down to the chicane. Jeez, that was committed all the way with straight mode active. Yellow flags in sector 2. I think someone has actually had a moment. Maybe potentially Dan the Racer. I think maybe just getting sideways out of the chicane through second sector. It is a very typically difficult corner, the off-camber one. This D Legend goes into P11. Mitch Riley, that's someone to watch. We're taking it all across the line. P9, not too bad at all from the Mercedes driver. Dirty Orange, the next one as well on his lap. This is the sector I was talking about. It's relatively difficult to get it perfect. You'll be really careful. If you don't have the setup roll through there, the car will go sideways and you will lose time and you will spin on that exit curb. As McJammy Dodge, that is a solid time, a 109.039. Have we actually got someone who's going to potentially challenge the likes of GP and the Ferrari? That's something definitely to watch. That could be good. It's down the back straight we go. The Williams. The drivers ahead is just going to have to jump out of the way. Dirty Orange into the chicane, a little bit compromised there, but that's okay. Makes it work. What's it going to be to the line? Dirty Orange up to P11 there, so 112.188. Not bad at all from him. How's Mars 360 line? Unfortunately, he's going to, yeah, bit of a difficult circuit to get bang on. What's Luke doing? He's not heading out just yet. And locking north is definitely going to be someone to watch in that Aston Martin. Mousy has done 200 laps to TT on this track. Oh, okay, it's McJammy Dodge Mousy. All right, then that's definitely someone to watch. This is going to be very interesting indeed. Daniel Starr at the moment into the chicane. Doesn't invalidate there somehow. Straight mode active. I think GP's on his lap, so we'll jump on board with him shortly. Actually, no, we'll jump on board with him now. So this is your current championship leader through Sector 1, negotiated, and he's down. Sector 2, what can he do? Flicks it left, flicks it to the right, backs out. Doesn't want to continue that lap. He's realized that he's lost too much time by going wide there, I think, on the strips, on the green, on the grass. Again, this is just qualifying, so it's not too intense just yet, but it's very close to the top. I was not expecting that, to be perfectly honest. There's GP, I think, just lining up for another lap, building that battery, getting ready for it. Again, the championship leader. Nobody really challenging that at the moment, apart from the likes of Oscar, but he's not here tonight. Hopefully the stream is holding up and the mic sounds okay. I don't know if it looks like it might be peaking a little bit too loud, but let's have a look what GP can do, and we'll stay on board for the entire lap. So, boost being deployed all the way down to turn 1. 100-meter braking. You want to cut that inside curve as much as you dare. Second gear, flick it as hard as you can to the right. Flat out on the power up the hill towards the right-left downhill chicane. Right, left, touch that inside a little bit. Avoid the wall on the outside. And on the brakes. Into the off-camber. Left and right. Again, the rear is getting a little bit light here. Straight mode active, the Alpine jumping out the way. GP continuing down towards the right-left now. Bang, inside curb. You want to cut that as much as you dare. Straight mode active as we head towards the hairpin. Battery being used perfectly, as you would expect from esports drivers. Oh, GP's gone a little bit wide, but I don't know. He might have gotten away with it here. Straight mode active yet again as we head down the back straight. He's got plenty of battery to boot as well. How's it going to be through the final chicane? That's where it's all going to matter. D-rate, final chicane, flat out, right, left. Absolutely fantastic to watch that. Straight mode active. It's a 108.614. That is blowing his time out of the water. That is absolutely mental around here. That is a mental time. Fantastic. And that is now the time that they all have to chase. I don't even think anyone's going to get close to that. With respect to all of these drivers, that is a rapid time around this circuit. As Luke, out of nowhere, gets a 110.773. So an Audi into the top 3, which is really good to see. GLX Cam, what can you do? Unfortunately, he has invalidated his lap. Nigel really unsettled down. I think he's going to have to back out of this one. The AlphaTauri just getting in the way a little bit there. Sorry, not AlphaTauri, the V-Carb. AlphaTauri. Goodness gracious. Sector 1 yellow flags. Nothing too concerning as it currently stands. I think Mars is on his lap. The other Ferrari. And Lockie North as well as invalidated yet again. I think Lockie North is definitely someone to watch here as soon as he gets a valid time in. But this circuit is providing somewhat of a tricky challenge for these drivers tonight. A 108.9 from McJammy Dodge, which is good. Or Mousy as we better know him. Fantastic. He's starting to challenge GP, so I'm starting to think we might see a bit of a challenge at the top of the field between the Aston Martin and the Ferrari, which could get very interesting indeed. As Mars heads down towards the line, what's it going to be? Relatively competitive. It's top 10 at the moment. 111.428. Really good to see. Really good to see a bunch of these drivers really pushing it out there tonight. Great. Great to see. Almaco, don't know if he's on a lap, but somewhat looks like he is. He's deploying battery. Yes, he is. So Almaco on a lap at the moment. And this is going to be important. The rear's getting lit up out of that corner as we expect around here. As Mr. T Gaming unfortunately retires from the session. I'm trying to get on board with someone here who's seen that. It looks like Mr. T may have gone into a wall. I think he did, yeah. Mr. T Gaming, unfortunately, into a wall. So that's going to be his qualifying over and done with, unfortunately. But nothing he can do about that. It's a difficult circuit, the Canadian circuit. Circuit Villeneuve. I think that's how you pronounce it. As down the back straight we go with Almaco. He'll be chasing that 109 and backs out of it. So straight into the pits. Making sure not to get a penalty. Mitch Riley, what can you do? Currently 4/10 up. GP retires. He's happy with his position. So Mitch Riley, I don't think this is a... Yeah, this is definitely not a push lap unless I'm absolutely mistaken. Doesn't look like it is. However, you know, F1 2026, this could be a push lap and you just don't know. But the battery isn't being deployed, so I'm going to assume not. What is Sam doing at the moment? He's unfortunately not where he should be. Someone is around. I think that might be Phoenix. Yeah, I think Phoenix has had a bit of a moment somewhere on the circuit. Oh, big in the background. Who's that? Jeez. Big old moment for Sam. I think it was Sam. Yep, Sam was around and someone else has had a moment as well. Big old moments here. I think Striker just jumping out the way. So a bit of chaos here at the end of qualifying with 3 minutes to go. Not what you want to see. These drivers trying to just navigate the circuit, build their own gaps. But yeah, a bit of a moment there in the background for Sam as we were just on board there. I think it was with Phoenix and just saw Sam lighting up the rears out of that fast right-hander. I told you, it's off camber. If you got the setup wrong, it can be absolutely pitiful. As I think that was a McLaren getting ready for his lap, so we'll line up with him. No, into the pits. So they're all jumping in the pits. They're all getting out of the way now. They don't want to continue, which is interesting because they're not going to have much time to get to the line to continue this. Mitch Riley, what have you got in the tank towards the hairpin? The Mercedes driver will be looking to improve on his positioning from the past few rounds here. This season proving difficult for the two Mercedes drivers at the moment. One being involved in a pretty hefty accident at the start of the season and unfortunately missing out on the second race. Mitch Riley absolutely nailing the chicane. Straight mode to the line. What's it going to be? It's probably in the 110s. 110.933. So it doesn't improve on that P6 at the moment. Almaco starts preparing the lap. Here we go. All on the table. Straight mode active. Boost. Not bothering. Is into turn one. And then turn two. The right-hander. Just keeping it close to the right-hand side. Getting on the power. Lighting up those rears. Trying not to spin it out. Is Lockie North. That's a pretty competitive lap time of a 109.954. I told ya, when he finally got that lap in, that's when it's going to count. And it's going to matter. The two Aston Martins may be looking like they could fight the likes of GP. This could get really interesting tonight. I'm actually really looking forward to this race now. I'm going to try and save my voice where I can, but it will probably go away mid-race if it's chaos. Let's get some predictions in the chat if we can, by the way. If we're thinking about who's going to win this Grand Prix, who's potentially going to crash out turn one, what's going to happen, how many safety cars. Also, can we get a weather report? If possible, please. That'd be great. Just to get an understanding of what we're expecting over the next few hours. As Almaco continues on his lap. I think he's backed out of it, though. Potentially. Yeah, he just built the battery. So Almaco has built the battery. He's done 2 preparation laps, and now he's on to the 3rd lap. So who's spun, though? I think it might be Phoenix. Yeah, Phoenix into the wall. And that's significant as well. It's not a small hit. I think he's maybe having controller issues. That's going to be an issue for these drivers as they start their laps. Almaco. Yeah, and that is unfortunate. I think that's it. That's going to be it for Almaco. He's not going to be able to finish that lap as that's invalidated. Lockie North. Starting his lap with McJammy Dodge. The two Aston Martins. Going to be absolutely sending it as much as they can. Mitch Riley retires from the session, so he's happy where he is. I think. Yeah, the Mercedes driver just jumping out the way there of GLX. Straight mode active. The Aston Martin's getting away from each other here. This is good. It's what we want to see as Phoenix retires from the session finally. And invalidates, unfortunately, for Lockie North. So it's all on McJammy Dodge. What can he do towards the hairpin? This is really going to matter now. Flicking it to the right. The most aggressive driving style seems to work around here when you're quick. It's going to be a big one. Nigel P9 and Stays P9. So good showing from our reserve drivers tonight. Really good to see. Flick it in. How is that not an invalidation? I don't even know. McJammy Dodge, no, he invalidates right at the end. What would it have been? A 108.5. It actually would have been pole. That is so unfortunate. It would have been pole if he didn't invalidate that last bit. But that does give us hope right at the end here as Sam crosses the line for P5. So that's really good showing from him. What can Striker do? He's currently down. And P8. So that is your grid set, ladies and gentlemen. And what a grid it shows to be. We could actually have a serious challenge on here for pole. For P1 in the race. This is going to be fun. This is going to be a really fun Grand Prix. I'm really looking forward to this. I'm really, really looking forward to this one. GP, the reigning and defending champion, has a lot of work on his hands by the looks of it. McJammy Dodge is going to be the person in second, breathing right down his neck for the start of the Grand Prix. I've been told that I need to go through the results here, so I'm just going to quickly scroll through just so you have that for you to know. But yeah, really, really close at the top here, which is really good to see. We don't really see that between anyone and GP. So it's good to see someone. And unfortunate for McJammy Dodge, who was, I mean, that would have been pole if he didn't invalidate the lap, which is a bit annoying for him, but bodes well for the race. Again, if we have a weather report, that'd be awesome. But if we don't, all good. We're just going to have to wait and see what happens as we head into the race now. 35 laps await us here at Canada. And honestly, I'm expecting chaos and nothing less. And you guys should as well. This is going to be fun. This is going to be really, really fun. Looks like it's going to be cloudy skies, potentially the threat of rain for tonight. 20 drivers out on that field, and that's going to be very intense. I mean, what are we looking for? Chaos down into turn one. There's always something that happens here. I've been looking for turn one, turn two, the defense. If you go around the outside and that turns into the inside and it turns into the optimal line. So again, it's going to be a tricky race for these drivers to navigate, but I have nothing but faith, if that's the right way to say it. But very excited here. It is currently 7:55. We have, I think, about a minute until this race starts. 35 laps, and a few of these drivers, if I can get Race Director up, and I can. A few are starting on hards. We're expecting a few medium runners, so going to be a bit of an interesting one. Split strategy across the field. The majority opting for the hards. and the spare few adopting for the mediums. So, going to be interesting to see what happens here as we wait those 5 red lights. Or 4. 5 red lights out of the drivers. And it's lights out and away we go here, and we're off to a great start for GP at the front. The Ferrari leading the field with the Aston Martin close in behind. Look around, there will be chaos without doubt. Jumping out of the way is the Haas. Here we go. What is going to happen down towards turn number 4? The Aston Martin right on the back of GP. GP's trying to run away with it at the moment. Let's get on board here with Luke, who's made it up. Bit of chaos in the background here. We expected this. Look at this. Absolute chaos into turns 1 and 2. There's a yellow flag at the back. I think a spinner who may have been GLX Cam, unfortunately, not getting off to the best start that we expected here tonight. Luke has had a great start, though. Look at this. Almaco as well. Under pressure here from Lockie North. The Aston Martin driver just on the back of Almaco, the McLaren. I think GLX Cam has unfortunately had a bit of a moment again. Let's look at that. The medium's just not getting up to scratch here. Let's do the hairpin. We all go. Aussie 2K GOAT. Right on there with GLX Cam. I think it's actually Mr. T Gaming. His look out. GP completes the first lap. The defense continues as McJammy Dodge is going to be hunting him down towards turn 1 with the hards versus the mediums, and that's where it's going to matter. It's definitely going to matter tonight. Sector 3 yellow flags. I think that's just GLX Cam. It's just unfortunately had an absolute shocker yet again. The Mercedes, as McJammy Dodge just waiting for his moment, is I think we might have a safety car. As something has happened here in the back. There's been chaos. Mr. T Gaming. What is going on here? He's going to get a bunch of penalties for that, but I think we might have a safety car. Possible race strategies here. 2-stop or a 3-stop. That's bold. I don't think we're going to see a 3-stop. I think it's a VSC that we're seeing. So wait for it to go green because it will go green. But Phoenix out of this Grand Prix immediately. So yeah, it's the VSC. We're waiting for that to go green. Hopefully it goes green in a place where everybody can benefit from it and not get penalties. Let's look out. We wait for it to go green. Down the back straight. I reckon it's going to happen here potentially. The driver's just waiting for that moment to hit full power, full throttle. Abiding by the Delta for now. That's where it's going to matter. Look how close these two are. That's going to be fun. Everybody just abiding by the Delta as we expected here. So it's actually a really close fight at the front between GP, McJammy Dodge, Almaco and Lockie North. And that is a massive bunch of penalties for Almaco and Lockie North. I think they've just absolutely been caught napping by the VSC going green. And unfortunately for them, that's resulted in a bunch of penalties. I think 2 drive-through penalties potentially. But Jammy Dodge is all over the back of GP. We finally have a fight at the front. Someone to fend off the likes of Gregory Prisball. Look out. Yellow flags for Lockie North. That's another 10-second penalty. So penalties are plenty here. Jammy Dodge just waiting for the moment to strike. 2/10 is the gap at the moment. Again, Lockie North, and he gets a smack into the wall. He's getting annoyed. Yeah, not ideal, honestly. I think that'll be investigated by the stewards, Jackson. I don't doubt it at all. As Roach gets a penalty, so McJammy Dodge, here we go. Biding his time. Just biding his time. He doesn't want to overtake yet. And you can really see it. Just waiting for the moment to strike. Is into the pits. Comes Lockie North. Another 10-second penalty to his name as he retires from the game. He's done. He doesn't want to continue. Sam into P3. So that's a massive moment for him as Jamie Dodge gets all kinds of sideways coming out of the exit. Yeah, I don't really know what he's doing there, Jackson. I can't really comment on that. As, again, the fight at the front is just creeping closer and closer. He has. Jamie Dodge has actually, I think he's hit the wing slightly and maybe got a little bit of damage on that front wing. So that's going to make things very interesting. Mitch Riley going for the move on Nigel, potentially. thought about it, backs out of it. So Mitch Riley looking to improve up on his P5 to P4, who has spun around. That is Sam into the wall. And that's probably a front wing gone, unfortunately. Yeah, that doesn't surprise me, man. I can't comment on that. I'm commentating and I can't comment on that, but I know what you mean. It's difficult, man. It is definitely difficult, but Mitch Riley here, right on the back of Nigel. Into the chicane we go. GP setting the pace and trying to run away with it at this point. Yeah, go fill out those reports, man. That's really annoying, but it's all right. On to the next race. Look at this. Mitch Riley's all over the back of Nigel here. Nigel being one of the better drivers here tonight, the reserve. Thanks, Jackson. Be sure to stay around. It'll get pretty intense, I reckon. Look at this. Mitch Riley right on the back and just trying to get past. Can't find a way through. And a little bit of a train forming here. Got to be careful of this. Lap 5 of 35. Still 30 laps to go. Nigel has some really serious pace around this circuit. It's really good to see. He's a bit wide there for Luke. Straight mode active. Is Mitch thinking about the move? He's probably thinking more about the back straight here and where he can overtake and where he can move here. I think Luke, yeah, Luke and Aussie 2K GOAT going side by side, and I think having a little bit of a tussle. Is Luke considering a move here? He might be. Thought about it into the chicane, thought against it. It's down towards turn 1 we go. And for the 6th time of asking. Really close gaps, to be fair. It's good to see. Close racing. As Mars into turn 1. On striker. Look out. Good move. Solid move from Mars to move up into P8. Good move there. Sam getting put down, unfortunately, with that wing damage. Is Mitch Riley ever closer to Nigel this time? Oh, he's practically on his rear wing. This is fantastic. Straight mode active. Is Mitch going to go for the move here? He's going to think about it. Hesitates. Backs off. Knows it's not the smart decision to make. Save the battery for that back straight. That's probably the better move here around this Canadian Grand Prix circuit. Daniel moving past Dirty Orange. Bit of a train forming in the back there. I'll jump on board with that shortly after this little battle, which is really good to see. 4 drivers all fighting for that top 3 position. Fantastic. And GP's just slowly starting to build a gap on McJammy Dodge. So nothing too surprising there. We will see difference in strategies. Straight mode active.